Have you ever felt that your life is a script you don't understand? A chaotic manuscript, written in a language you can't decipher. You look at the pages of your days and see patterns repeating with an exhausting precision. The same knots of scarcity, the same stains of illness, the same chapters of failed relationships. You have been conditioned to believe that you are merely a reader of your own life, a victim of a plot written by destiny, by chance, or by an external indifferent power. This audiobook is the manual that was veiled, censored, and called forbidden, precisely because it reveals the most dangerous and most liberating truth of all. There is no other author. The manuscript is yours. You are the scribe and the pen. The pen has never left your hand. How is this possible? How can you be the author of a story that causes you so much pain? The answer is the key to forbidden metaphysics. You have been writing unconsciously. You have been writing in a trance, asleep, using a secret grammar that was taught to you before you could choose. A syntax of fear, doubt, and guilt. This grammar is your subconscious programming. It is the inherited script, written with the invisible ink of your ancestors' fears and your culture's limiting beliefs. The universe is not a judge. It is a perfect scroll. Your subconscious mind is the writing workshop. This system is impersonal. It does not judge your script. It simply manifests it. If your internal grammar is that of unworthiness, the universe will write you a story of failure. Your chaotic life is not a punishment. It is the irrefutable proof that the creation system works perfectly. You have simply been a sleeping scribe, guided by a grammar of fear. This knowledge was forbidden, not because it is evil, but because it makes you responsible. It tears you out of the comfortable seat of the victim and sits you in the chair, sometimes terrifying, of the creator. This manual is not philosophy. It is the textbook of that secret grammar. In our journey in Part 1, we will learn to read the hidden code, to see the invisible ink of your programming. In Part 2, we will learn the syntax of the soul, the language of feeling and imagination that the universe understands. And in Part 3, we will enter the practical workshop. I will teach you how to take the pen and consciously rewrite your own story. The illegible manuscript of your past is finished. The page of your present is blank. It is time to wake up. It is time to write. Chapter 1. The Great Illusion, Reality as a Scroll. You have been initiated into the first secret. Your life is an illegible manuscript, a script that you are projecting without being aware of it. Now, for you to take the pen and rewrite your story, you must understand the nature of the page you are writing on. You must dismantle the biggest lie, the fundamental illusion that keeps you prisoner. The first law of forbidden metaphysics, the truth that lies at the heart of creation, is this: the world around you is not solid. It is not external, and it is not separate from you. It is a projection. It is a scroll. You have been conditioned to believe that you are a body inhabiting a world, a small biological machine navigating a vast material and often hostile universe. You believe in the solidity of the chair you sit on, the finality of the bill you hold, the hardness of the wall you hit against. This belief in the reality of matter is the great illusion. Cutting-edge science, quantum physics, has arrived after a long and arduous journey at the same conclusion that mystics knew intuitively millennia ago: matter does not exist. If you were to take the most solid object in your world, a table, a stone, and magnify it beyond the atom, beyond the electron, you would find no thing whatsoever. You would only find a vibrating void, an ocean of energy and information, a field of pure potentiality. The universe is not a collection of things. It is a symphony of frequencies. It is a vast field of consciousness. And the chair you sit on only seems solid, because that energy is vibrating at such a dense frequency that your limited senses interpret it as an object. The world is not a structure. It is a transmission. If the universe is a blank scroll of energy, what is it that writes upon it? What is it that takes that formless energy and collapses it into the reality of a chair, a bill, or an illness? The answer is the second part of this revelation: consciousness. Your consciousness is not a byproduct of your brain. Your consciousness is not a passive witness that simply observes the world. Your consciousness is the most active and potent creative force in the cosmos. It is the divine ink with which the manuscript is written. Ancient Hermetic wisdom summarized it in a single law: the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is not poetic philosophy. It is the technical description of reality. It means that the outer world is nothing more than a perfect mirror of your inner world. As it is within, so it is without. As it is above in your consciousness, so it is below in your physical reality. This is not a self-help saying. It is the physics of the projector. Your internal consciousness is the film and the light. Your external world is the screen. The reality you experience is simply the reflection. And here lies the root of all your suffering. Here lies the reason why your manuscript is illegible. You are the scribe. You are the consciousness. You are the projector. But you have suffered a divine amnesia. You have forgotten who you are. You have plunged so deeply into the story you are projecting that you have identified with one of the characters in the plot. You have forgotten that you are the author, and now believe you are the helpless actor. You have forgotten that you are the light, and now believe you are the shadow on the wall. This is the state of sleep in which humanity lives. It is a state of self-imposed powerlessness. You believe the world happens to you. My boss, the story, made me angry, the effect. The diagnosis, the story, made me sick, the effect. The economy, the story, made me poor, the effect. But the forbidden truth inverts this. Law, you projected the frequency of irritation, the cause, and the universe sent you a boss who resonated with it, the effect. You projected the grammar of fear and disharmony, the cause, and your body manifested the reflection of that dissonance, the disease. The world is not doing anything to you. The world is reflecting you. Imagine you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror. You see that your face is stained with mud. What do? Do you get angry at the mirror? Do you try to fix the reflection? Do you yell at the mirror, beg it to change, or take a cloth and try to wipe the smudge off the glass? To do that would be an act of madness, yet it is exactly what you have been doing your whole life. You have been trying to change your reflection, your life, with forced action. You fight your debts. You combat your illness. You work hard to change your reality. All of this is the act of scrubbing the mirror. It is exhausting, frustrating, and futile. The reflection returns the image of a crazy, tired person scrubbing a mirror. The only way to change the reflection is to stop looking at the mirror and realize that the mud stain is on your own face, your consciousness. Your only job is to clean your face, and when you do, the mirror will have no choice but to reflect your new image instantly and effortlessly. The universe is not a solid structure happening to you. It is a perfect reflection of the information you are projecting. But this truth, though liberating, places us on the threshold of a paradox. If this is true, if I am the scribe, why is my manuscript so persistent? Why, if I decide to write a thought of abundance today, does the mirror of my world keep returning the reflection of scarcity? Why is the mud stain on my face, my consciousness, so difficult to clean? Here is where we must dismantle the illusion of instant creation. Most people fail at this point because they don't understand the physics of belief. Your failure is not because the law doesn't work. It is because you don't understand how the ink works. A thought is only the first stroke of the pen. It is ethereal. It is light. A single thought of "I am abundant," when your entire life manuscript screams "I am poor," is like a faint pencil stroke on a page already tattooed with indelible ink. The universe barely registers it. The quantum loom, the scroll of reality, does not respond to your occasional thoughts. It responds to your dominant beliefs. And a belief is simply a thought that has been saturated. It is a stroke that has been traced over again and again until the ink has bled through the scroll and become the very structure of the page. There are two forces that saturate a thought and turn it into a belief, into a law. The force of repetition, the habit. The first force is habit. It is constant repetition. A single thought of "I am not enough" is an accident. The same thought, repeated every day for 20 years, is no longer a thought. It is a rut. It is a neural superhighway. It is a belief. You have practiced that vibration so diligently that it has become your shadow knot, your default pattern. It is the grammar with which your hand writes automatically. The force of emotion, the fire. The second force is emotion. It is the fire that hardens the ink. A neutral thought is weak, but a thought charged with intense emotion, especially fear, pain, guilt, or ecstatic joy, is a red-hot seal. It instantly burns its imprint onto the scroll of your subconscious. That is why a single traumatic event, can rewrite your reality forever. It wasn't the event that did it. It was the intensity of the emotion you felt, which acted as a solvent and engraved that belief. The world is dangerous, at a subatomic level. Your current life, your illegible manuscript, is not the reflection of your thoughts today. It is the reflection of the thoughts you have repeated and felt with the most intensity throughout your life. You are fighting an entire library of ancient and sacred texts to your subconscious with a single new memo. And here we come to the deepest truth of the conspiracy. You didn't even write most of that manuscript yourself. You inherited it. As we explored in the introduction, you were born in a state of hypnotic trance. For the first 7 years of your life, your conscious mind, the awakened scribe, was not present. But the scroll, your subconscious, was wide open, receptive and blank. You were an open book, and the world wrote its grammar onto you. The invisible ink of your mother's anxiety, the invisible ink of your father's fear of scarcity, the invisible ink of your religion's guilt, the invisible ink of your culture's belief in sickness and decay. These were not just thoughts, they were the foundational programs. They became the secret grammar with which, to this day, you write your life without realizing it. Your bad luck is not chance. It is a tragic loyalty to an inherited script. You are trapped in a movie written by your ancestors. Imagine your consciousness is a vast room. When you are born, the room is silent. But then your parents enter and whisper, "The world is hard." That whisper, a thought, creates an echo. A teacher says, "You're not good enough." Another echo. A painful experience screams, "Loving is dangerous." A deafening echo. Over the years, you stop hearing the original whispers, but the echoes, your beliefs, keep bouncing off the walls. They overlap, reinforce each other, and create a deafening cacophony, a storm of noise. That storm is your internal dialogue. It is the chaotic fire. Now you stand in the middle of that noisy room, your waking state, and try to whisper a new truth. I am abundant. What happens? Your new whisper is instantly drowned out by the cacophony of 1,000 echoes from the past. Your job is not to shout louder than the echoes. That is exhausting and futile. Your job is to do what a sound engineer does. It is not to add more noise. It is to find the silence, the theta state, the workshop of silence, and from there begin to erase the old echoes, dissolve the programming, and introduce a new, pure note, your new belief. Chapter 2. The Invisible Ink, the Inherited Script. To understand this process, we must travel to the origin of your manuscript. When you arrived in this world, your consciousness was a blank scroll. More precisely, your subconscious mind, the Pi. 95% of your being, the vast workshop where ink turns into reality, was completely open, receptive, and unfiltered. From ages 0 to 7, your brain did not operate in the critical analytical state, beta, you use now to read this. It operated in a state of hypnotic sleep, alpha and theta waves. This is not a defect. It is the design. It is the consciousness's recording mode, engineered to absorb massive amounts of information and learn to function on this plane. You were a vibrational sponge, but you had no gatekeeper. You lacked the filter of logic or discernment. You could not judge the information. You could only record it. And in that state of perfect receptivity, the scribes of your world, your parents, your family, your culture, began to write their script upon yours. The first ink that stained your scroll was not the ink of words. It was the ink of frequency. You didn't just inherit your mother's eye color. You inherited her anxiety. You didn't just learn to walk from your father. You absorbed his relationship with scarcity. If your parents lived in a state of financial stress, of fear of lack, you did not learn about money. You absorbed the frequency of fear. Your soul's manuscript was imbued with the invisible ink of scarcity. If your parents had a conflicting relationship, you did not learn about love. You absorbed the grammar of dissonance. If you were criticized or felt you were not enough, it was not a simple, painful event. It was a decree that was burned onto your scroll. My identity is unworthiness. This is not a genetic inheritance. It is a vibrational inheritance. It is the inherited script that became your default operating system, the grammar with which to this day you write your life without realizing it. On top of that first layer of family ink, the world poured the second, the collective ink, culture, religion, school, the news. All of them handed you the official grammar of reality. And this grammar is based almost entirely on the Great Illusion, Chapter 1. They taught you to scrub the mirror, that your power resides in forced action and struggle, the myth of external control. They taught you the sentence of time, that aging is inevitable, that illness is random, and that the body is a defective machine. They taught you the religion of chance, that luck exists, and that abundance is a lightning bolt that strikes a chosen few. This invisible ink became the consensual reality. It is the water you swim in, so ubiquitous that you don't even realize you are wet. And here lies the core of the problem. This inherited script, this invisible ink, no longer feels like a belief. It feels like me. The belief I am not enough is not something you think, it is something you are. The manuscript has merged with the scribe. Your current life is not a reflection of your conscious desires today. It is a perfect reflection of the grammar that was imposed on you decades ago. You try to write the word abundance, your conscious desire. But the inherited grammar, your subconscious program, automatically corrects it to struggle. You try to write love, and the invisible grammar crosses it out and writes fear of abandonment. Your subconscious mind is the perfect servant. Its job is to make life efficient. To achieve this, it takes any action or belief that is repeated and turns it into an automatic program. You don't have to think about how to breathe, how to beat your heart, or how to walk. The automatic scribe does it for you, and in your childhood, this automatic scribe recorded your tribe's secret grammar. Scarcity is real. Program A. Love is dangerous. Program B. Struggle is necessary. Program C. Now, in your adult life, you, the awakened consciousness, sit down with the pen in hand and declare, I am going to write a new chapter of abundance. But the instant you pick up the pen, the automatic scribe, that swift and efficient servant, takes it out of your hand. Don't worry, it says. I got this, I know this story. And before you can react, your hands, your actions, and your chemistry, your emotion, are already writing Program A of scarcity out of sheer habit. This is the source of your greatest frustration. It is the feeling of being possessed by a ghost. It is the moment you decide to speak confidently in a meeting, but your voice trembles and your heart races, executing the I'm not enough program. It is the moment you decide to trust your new partner, but you find yourself sabotaging the relationship, executing the love is dangerous program. You are not fighting the world. You are fighting your own efficiency. You are at war with an automatic scribe that is infinitely faster and stronger than your conscious will. But why is this automatic scribe so powerful? Why can't we simply uninstall it? Because at some fundamental level, we have confused the script with our identity. The automatic scribe is not an enemy. It is a guardian. It is protecting the identity you taught it. Your script of suffering, though painful, has become your comfort zone. It is the tragedy of the prisoner who has lived so long in their cell that they fear freedom. 1. The security of the predictable. A script of struggle, though painful, is familiar. You know how to act. You know your lines. You know how to be the person who struggles, who survives, who complains. Healing, abundance, peace is a new script. It is a blank page, and the blank page is terrifying to the programmed mind. Who will I be if I'm no longer sick? Who will I be if I no longer have to fight for money? Your automatic scribe sabotages your healing because it prefers the security of a known hell to the chaos of an unknown heaven. 2. The tragic loyalty to pain. And here lies the darkest ink. Often we keep the inherited script, not out of fear, but out of loyalty. It is a tragic loyalty to the vibration of our tribe. How dare I be prosperous if my family has always struggled? Being rich would be a betrayal. How dare I be happy in love if my mother suffered so much? Being happy would be a betrayal. How dare I heal if this illness is the only thing that gets me attention from others? Your automatic scribe continues to write the script of pain, because on a subconscious level, you believe that suffering keeps you connected, keeps you safe, keeps you loyal. Your illness, your scarcity is not your punishment. It is the distorted proof of your love for your lineage. Imagine your conscious hand, your 5%, picking up the pen to write on the scroll. I am healthy. But the instant you approach the page, an invisible hand, a phantom hand, your 95% subconscious, rests upon yours. It is your father's hand and your mother's hand, and the hand of their ancestors. And this phantom hand, with the force of generations of beliefs, guides your pen. You try to write healthy, but the phantom hand forces you to write struggle. You try to write abundance, but the phantom hand forces you to write scarcity. Your struggle is not against the scroll. It is against the phantom hands that control yours. The forbidden metaphysics is not learning to write better. It is the art of awakening with so much consciousness, with so much light, that the phantom hands dissolve and your hand, for the first time, becomes free. Chapter 3. The Veil of the Senses, the Captive Reader. You have been conditioned to believe that your 5 senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, are passive receivers of reality. You believe they show you the world as it is. This is the fundamental lie that sustains the great illusion. Your senses are not windows. They are filters. And they are brutally efficient filters. Science estimates that your consciousness processes billions of bits of information per second, yet you are only conscious of a minuscule fraction. Your physical senses can only perceive less than 1% of the reality around you. 99% of the electromagnetic spectrum, radio waves, X-rays, infrared, ultraviolet, the vibrations of every thought, is completely invisible to you. You do not see reality. You see a biological user interface, a simplified low-resolution version, a desktop designed for a single purpose, survival on the physical plane. Your senses are not designed to show you the truth, the quantum ocean of energy, the scroll of potentiality. They are designed to show you the threat, the tiger, the approaching car, the spoiled food. They are designed to show you the separation, where you end and the rock begins, so you don't stumble. They are the guardian of your biological prison, and here lies the trap. You have become a captive reader. You have become addicted to this user interface. You have come to believe that the 1% of reality that your senses filter is 100% of what exists. You have deified the facts. Facts are facts. Seeing is believing. It is reality. But what is a fact? A fact, the bill in your hand, the pain in your body, the loneliness of your room, is not the truth. It is history. It is the text already imprinted on the scroll. Your senses are historians. They can only read what has already been written by your invisible ink, by the grammar of your being, Chapter 2. What you see now with your physical eyes is not the truth of the creative present. It is the solidified echo of yesterday's grammar. It is the manifestation of your out-of-tune music from last week. Imagine you are a scribe sitting in the center of a vast echo chamber, your reality. Yesterday, consumed by the inherited script, you screamed, "I am poor," an order of lack. Today you wake up. You have learned the law. You pick up the pen and in the silence of your mind whisper, "I am abundant." But the instant you whisper it, the echo of your scream from yesterday returns from the chamber walls, "I am poor." The echo is deafening. It is so loud that it drowns out your new whisper. Your 5 senses are the mechanism that perceives the echo. They are the evidence of your old vibration. And you, as a captive reader, listen to the echo, the reality of your senses, believe it more than your new whisper, and conclude, it doesn't work. The echo is the truth, and by believing the echo, you give it your power. You take the ink of your belief and write once again, "I am poor." You have become trapped in a perfect feedback loop. You are hypnotized by the reflection of your own past writing. The veil of the senses is the mechanism that keeps you trapped in this loop, reading and therefore rewriting the same tragic story. Over and over, forbidden metaphysics asks you to commit the most radical act of rebellion, to betray your senses. It asks you to stop believing the evidence. It asks you to remove your power, your attention, and your emotional energy from the already written manuscript, your current reality, and place all your faith in the blank manuscript, your imagination. This is incredibly difficult. Why? Because the veil of the senses, the guardian of your prison, has a secret weapon: biochemistry. When your senses read the script of fear, the unexpected bill, the critical comment, it's not just a thought. It is an immediate physical reaction. Your body obeys. It releases the chemistry of stress, cortisol, adrenaline. Your heart races, your stomach contracts, and over time, your body has become addicted to the chemistry of its own suffering. Your reality of struggle not only seems real because you see it, it seems real because you are physically addicted to it. Your identity as a person who suffers, or person who struggles, is reinforced by a biochemical need to feel tension, worry, and drama. The veil of the senses is the jailer and the drug dealer. It shows you the threat, the echo of the past, and then gives you the dose of cortisol, the biochemical drug, to help you survive, reinforcing the addictive cycle. Breaking this loop is not just an act of mental change. It is an act of physical and emotional detoxification. It is consciously choosing to endure the withdrawal symptoms of calm, of peace, until your body learns that serenity is not a threat, but its new natural state. Imagine that your pure consciousness, your still mind, is a bowl of motionless water, a deep, black ink mirror, capable of reflecting the stars' infinite potential. The veil of the senses is the act of refusing to look at the bowl. It is the act of keeping your gaze fixed on the stone wall of the cave you are sitting in, your physical reality. On that wall you see flickering shadows, your chaotic life, the evidence of your senses. And since it is the only thing you have ever looked at, you believe the shadows are the only reality. Forbidden metaphysics, the path of the alchemist, does not ask you to fight the shadows on the wall. That is the myth of external control. It asks you to commit the simplest and most terrifying act: stop looking at the wall. Withdraw your attention, your faith, and your energy from the evidence of your senses. And turn around. Turn your consciousness 180 degrees inward. Look at the ink mirror of your own stillness, the silence we will discuss later. At first, you will only see darkness, and the ego, the prisoner, will panic. This is useless. It will scream. The shadows are real. Look, the wall is on fire. But the initiate, the master, holds their gaze on the bowl. They trust the silence more than the noise of the shadows. And if you hold your gaze in that stillness long enough, a new image will begin to form on the surface of the ink. It is not a shadow. It is a light. It is the image that you choose, the image of your abundance, the image of your peace. And if you hold your gaze on that new image, with unwavering faith, with the emotion of gratitude, as we will see, the ink mirror will become a projector, and the image you have held in your inner stillness will inevitably be projected onto the wall of your reality, displacing and dissolving the old shadows. You must stop being a captive reader of the shadows of the past and become the conscious author of the image in the ink mirror, the practical protocol, the betrayal of the senses, the first practice, the evidence. Diet. Your first practice is discipline. It is putting your mind on a fast from facts. For a period of time that you decree, a week, a day, even an hour, you commit to withdrawing your attention from the problem. Do not obsessively check your bank account. Do not look in the mirror searching for the flaw. Do not talk about your problem with anyone. Every time you do this, you are stopping looking at the wall of shadows. You are starving the old echo. The second practice, the anchor in the invisible. Nature abhors a vacuum. You cannot simply stop looking at the wall. You must have something else to focus on. Your anchor is your breath. It is the most accessible ink mirror you have. Every time your mind, by habit, is dragged back to the evidence of your senses, the wall, do not fight. Simply, gently turn around. Turn your attention from the story in your head to the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. Your breath is happening now. It is not an echo of the past. It is life in real time. By anchoring yourself in it, you anchor yourself in the only point of power, the present. The third practice, the whisper of the new truth. While anchored in your breath, looking at the ink mirror, now whisper the new image. Do not shout it, whisper it. While you feel your breath, you introduce the new frequency. I am safe. Abundance is my nature. All is well. You are not trying to convince the wall. You are writing the new script on the scroll of your own soul. Chapter 4. The creative word, the power of I am. You are trapped in a perfect feedback loop. Your programming writes the script. Your senses read it as a fact. and your belief in that fact empowers the programming to rewrite it. How do you break this circle? How do you stop this automatic scribe? You cannot fight the script. You cannot scrub the mirror. You cannot shout at the echo. You must do the only thing that the inherited script program cannot do. You must change the scribe. The fourth law of forbidden metaphysics is the revelation of the master key, the divine password that takes you out of reader mode and gives you the authority of author. It is the frequency that dissolves the prisoner's identity and restores the creator's identity. It is the creative word. The word I am. The entire structure of your prison rests on a faulty grammar, the grammar of to have. This is the frequency of lack. It is the language of separation. I want to have health. I need to have abundance. I seek to have peace. Every one of these phrases, though it seems like a positive intention, is an affirmation of lack. It is a decree that screams to the universe, I do not have. It is the beggar's prayer, and the scroll in its obedience perfectly reflects your state of not having. The creative word, I am, is a grammar from a different universe. It is the grammar of identity. It is not a wish. It is not a request. It is not a hope. It is a declaration of fact. I am is the signature of God. It is the name of pure consciousness, the only presence that exists. When you say I am, you are not describing something. You are decreeing something. I want to have health is the grammar of the captive reader. I am health is the grammar of the awakened scribe. The first phrase affirms struggle. The second affirms existence. It is a command that collapses time. It does not affirm that health will come. It affirms that health already is. Your inherited script, the invisible ink, is a set of corrupted I am declarations. I am the one who always fails. I am unworthy of love. I am a sick person. These are the identities that your automatic scribe has been writing on your scroll. They are the falsified signatures that have been creating your reality. Your subconscious, the workshop of creation, is absolutely loyal. But it is not loyal to your desire. It is loyal to your identity. Its sole job is to create a physical reality that matches the truth you have declared yourself to be. You cannot have abundance if your identity is to be poor. It is a vibrational contradiction. The word I am is the act of sovereign authority. It is the moment when you, the awakened consciousness, take the pen, cross out the falsified signature of the inherited script, and write your own authentic signature. When you declare from a place of stillness, I am perfect health, you are executing an override command. You are telling your subconscious, the old script of I am sick is obsolete. This new identity, I am health, is now the only truth. Erase the previous manuscript. Start writing this one. Imagine that the scroll of your life is a legal document in the court of the universe. For years, an imposter, your inherited programming, has been entering the court using a crude wooden seal, your identity of fear, to validate decrees of chaos and illness. And the court, seeing no other authority, has obeyed. The result is a kingdom in chaos. The words I forgive, I release, I cleanse, which we will see later, are the acts of clearing the court of the old chaotic documents. But the word I am is something different. It is the moment when you, the true king, enter the court. The impostors flee, silence falls, and you do not ask for a new kingdom. You simply take the royal golden seal, the truth of your being, your I am, and stamp it on the scroll. The instant the universe sees that signature, that authentic seal, all previous decrees signed with the fake wooden seal become null and void. The I am signature is the only authority the universe recognizes. We know that I am is the signature of the awakened scribe, the command that overrides past programming and establishes a new identity as the root cause of reality. But this revelation places us at the center of the greatest frustration of all. Millions of people have discovered this word. They have stood in front of the mirror, in the middle of a chaotic life, and tried to affirm their power. They have shouted, I am abundant, while feeling the knot of panic over the bill on their desk. They have declared, I am health, while feeling the sharp pain in their body, and nothing has happened. The mirror has not changed. The echo of suffering has continued to resonate. Why? Why does the divine password, the creative word, fail so miserably? It fails because they have confused the word with the vibration. Your inherited script, the invisible ink of your programming, is a system of felt beliefs. Your belief in scarcity is not a thought. It is a bodily reaction, a chemistry, a contraction. The automatic scribe, your subconscious, is blind to your logical words. It only reads and writes with the ink of feeling. When you, from your conscious mind, the 5% of your being, stand in front of the mirror and think or say a word, you are trying to write on the scroll with a pencil that has no ink. But the feeling of fear in your body, the vibration of your inherited script, the 95%, is writing in that same instant, with indelible ink, your word, 5%. I am abundant, pencil. Your feeling, 95%. I am terrified, ink. The scroll of reality does not obey the prettiest stroke. It obeys the darkest ink and the firmest hand, and your habitual fear is a much firmer hand than your occasional hope. This is the frequency of counterfeiting. It is an empty declaration. It is a civil war in your consciousness. And the automatic scribe, operating from feeling, will always win. Forbidden metaphysics does not teach you to say I am. It teaches you to become I am. The creative word is not the sound you utter. It is the state you inhabit. You cannot convince your subconscious with logic. It would be like trying to convince a hurricane to calm down with a well-reasoned argument. You must seduce it. You must become the calm. The system's password is not typed with logic. It is felt with the heart. Reality is not a keyboard. It is a biometric scanner. It does not read what you say. It reads your vibrational signature. And your vibrational signature is your feeling. Therefore, the declaration I am is not the beginning of the work. It is the result of the work. It is the seal of authority that you can only stamp after you have generated the feeling that backs it up. The I am due of the untrained mind is a plea. It is a projection into the future. I am rich someday. It continues to vibrate in lack. The I am of the awakened scribe is a declaration of the present. It is an anchor. It is the absolute stillness of existence. It is the 0 point of creation. It is the silence that precedes the word. Before you can declare I am abundant, you must first be capable of sitting in the silence and simply being. I am. This pure I am is consciousness itself. It is the scribe picking up the pen. It is pure authority, before it decides what to write. Imagine that the scroll of reality only responds to one official seal, the seal of authority. For years you have been trying to create your own wooden seals, your positive thoughts, but the scroll does not recognize them. The word I am is the revelation that you, and only you, hold the pure gold seal of authority. But here is the secret. The seal, the word I am, and the hot wax, the feeling, must merge. If you press the cold gold seal onto cold wax, you leave no mark. The I am said without feeling. If you pour hot wax, emotion of fear, but do not use the seal, you create a mess, chaotic manifestation. Creation is the act of heating the wax, generating the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and pressing the seal, I am, into it, all in one coherent act. The word I am is the password, yes, but that password is not written with logic. It is embodied with feeling. The scroll does not respond to the shape of the seal. It responds to the combination of the seal and the heat. The creative word has been revealed to you. It is the identity. It is the password. You have understood why it failed and how it must be used, not as a word but as an embodied state. Chapter 5. The syntax of the soul, feeling as grammar. Most people, upon discovering their power, make a fatal mistake. They believe that power resides in the words, your thoughts and affirmations. They spend their lives trying to convince the universe with logic. They repeat empty affirmations. They sketch cold visions. This is the scribe writing on the scroll with a graphite pencil. The strokes are clear, but they are weak. They lack substance. And at the first wind of doubt, they are erased. The fifth law of forbidden metaphysics is this. The universe is not written in the language of logic. It is written in the ink of feeling. Thought is the word. Feeling is the grammar that gives it power and meaning. Welcome to the syntax of the soul. For your subconscious, the writing workshop, the vast 95% of your being, to accept a new script, it must understand it. And the subconscious is a preverbal entity. It is the mind of the body. It is the intelligence that operates your heart and your chemistry. It does not understand the abstract, cold language of your logical mind. A thought like "I am abundant" is, to the subconscious, a meaningless sound like a foreign language. But feeling is its mother tongue. The subconscious does not think about fear. It feels it as a contraction in the stomach and a flood of cortisol. It does not think about love. It feels it as an expansion in the chest and a flood of oxytocin. Feeling is the translation of an abstract thought into a biochemical reality. It is the bridge between mind and matter. It is the ink with which the scribe must write. When you combine a clear thought, the pencil, with a deep feeling, the ink, the inscription ceases to be a wish. It becomes a command. It is etched onto the scroll of the subconscious with an indelible force. Cold creation, that of the majority, is an act of willpower. It is the scribe gripping the pencil tightly, trying to scratch their will onto the page. It is tense, it is an effort. It is the frequency of counterfeiting. Chapter 4. The result is a weak tapestry and an exhausted scribe. Felt creation, forbidden metaphysics, is an act of impregnation. It is the scribe dipping the pen, the thought, into the deep ink of their heart, the feeling, and allowing it to flow onto the page. There is no effort. There is conviction. A thought of health repeated 1,000 times with the logical mind is 1,000 times less potent than the feeling of relief held for a single second. Feeling is the true prayer. It is the true I am. Your subconscious does not register what you say. It registers what you embody. When you say I am health but feel the fear of illness, your prayer is contradictory. You have written a word in pencil and crossed it out with the red ink of panic. The subconscious, being literal, ignores the pencil and obeys the ink. It manifests the fear. Feeling is the truth of your being at any given moment, and the universe, which is a perfect mirror, cannot reflect your desire. It can only reflect the truth you are emitting. Healing begins when you stop thinking about what you want and start feeling what you already are on the invisible plane. Imagine your subconscious mind is a disk of hard wax, your current programming. Your new script, your desire for healing, is a perfect golden seal, the original blueprint. If you take the cold seal, the logical thought of health, and press it against the cold wax, you leave no mark. This is the failure of positive thinking without feeling. You must do two things. Soften the wax. You must enter a receptive, meditative, drowsy state, the silence and peace from previous discussions. Heat the seal, and here is the key. You must heat the seal. Feeling is the fire that heats the seal. When you generate, through your imagination, the feeling of your wish fulfilled, relief, gratitude, joy, you are heating your seal red hot. And when you press that hot seal, thought plus feeling, onto the soft wax receptive subconscious, the imprint is instant, deep, and irrefutable. You have left a new mark. You have engraved a new truth. You have rewritten the manuscript. We have understood the physics of grammar. We know that feeling is the ink that the subconscious scroll obeys. It is the biochemical signature and the heat that makes the impression real. A thought without feeling is a pencil without ink, an impotent stroke that is erased. But this revelation places us on the threshold of a new challenge. If feeling is the power, are we not then at the mercy of our feelings? Most people are slaves to this logic. They believe they cannot control how they feel. Their feelings are reactions to the manuscript they are reading. They read the chapter of the bill and feel fear. They read the chapter of loneliness and feel sadness. They believe that feeling is the effect of the story, and thus they are trapped in a never-ending loop. The script of fear makes them feel fear, and that feeling of fear becomes the ink that writes the next chapter of fear. To break this loop, you must understand the crucial difference between a reactive emotion and a sustained feeling. The chaotic noise, reactive emotion. A reactive emotion is the noise of the old script. It is the echo of the past. It is the invisible ink, chapter 2, making itself felt. It is chaotic, noisy, survival energy. It is the chaotic fire we have discussed, the anger that explodes, the panic that contracts you, the anxiety that vibrates in your chest. These feelings are the automatic scribe defending its territory. When you try to write peace with your conscious pencil, the automatic scribe pours the ink of panic onto your page. This reactive emotion is not creative. It is reinforcing. It reinforces the old manuscript, the divine grammar, sustained feeling or assumption. Forbidden metaphysics does not ask you to feel explosively. It asks you to inhabit a state. A sustained feeling is a frequency chosen deliberately. It is the act of the awakened scribe who, with calmness, chooses a new ink. It is not the chaotic wave of emotion. It is the serene weather of conviction. The wise called it assumption. It is the art of assuming the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. It is not pretending. Pretending is a lie of the conscious 5% that is denied by the subconscious 95%. It is a frequency of counterfeiting. Assumption is an act of disciplined imagination. It is the art of using the workshop of silence, which we will explore next, to generate a feeling so real, so biochemically complete, that your body cannot distinguish between physical reality and imagined reality. The subconscious does not respond to the wave of reactive emotion. It ignores it as noise, but it obeys with absolute loyalty the weather of your sustained feeling. The key difference: reactive emotion is an effect. It is born of the evidence of your senses, the Veil, Chapter 3. Sustained feeling assumption is a cause. It is born of your imagination, the Workshop, Chapter 6. Your job as the scribe is not to stop feeling fear, that is repression. Your job is to become so skilled at generating the sustained feeling of peace or health that this new grammar, over time, becomes louder, more dominant and more habitual than the old grammar of fear. Imagine your consciousness is a workshop where ink is manufactured. For years, the automatic scribe, your programming, has been manufacturing ink in only one way. It takes the poisonous berries of fear and the mud of the past, boils them in the pot of chaotic fire, stress, and creates a thick black ink of suffering. And you have been writing your life with that. The awakened scribe, your new consciousness, enters the workshop. It sees the recipe for the poison, and instead of fighting it, simply stops using it. It turns to a forgotten shelf where the pure ingredients are, the golden flowers of imagination, the precious minerals of happy memories, the pure water of gratitude. And with serene intention, it begins to mix a new ink. An ink of a vibrant liquid gold. At first you only have a small drop of this new golden ink, your 5-minute ritual. And for the rest of the day, the automatic scribe continues to use the old barrel of black ink. But if every day with discipline you manufacture more and more golden ink, practice sustained feeling, your internal supply changes. The barrel of black ink dries up from disuse, and the barrel of golden ink fills. Until a day comes when the golden ink of peace and health is the only ink available. And on that day, your automatic scribe, in its efficiency, takes that ink and automatically begins to write a golden manuscript. Chapter 6. The Silent Scriptorium, Imagination in Stillness. To the untrained mind, the one living captive to the veil of the senses, imagination is a childish word. It is synonymous with fantasy, with daydreaming, with something unreal. This is the biggest lie you have been told about your power. Your imagination is not fantasy. Fantasy is a passive act, an escape from reality. Disciplined imagination is the most potent and most real act of creation that exists. Your imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the workshop where reality is designed. It is not unreal. It is the cause of what you call real. It is not a fantasy. It is the pen with which the scribe writes on the scroll. This principle is not a metaphor. It is a neurobiological law. Your subconscious, the builder that executes the plans, cannot distinguish between a real experience that comes through the veil of the senses and a vividly, sensorially imagined experience. To your nervous system, they are identical. When you sit in silence and with your imagination, construct the scene of your perfect health, when you see the sunlight on your skin, when you hear the laughter of a loved one, and when you feel, the ink, Chapter 5, the deep relief in your chest, your brain does not register it as a wish. It registers it as an event that has already happened. In that instant, your body obeys. It releases the biochemistry of healing, oxytocin, endorphins. You are literally rewiring your neurons. You are forging the superhighways of your new reality. Your subconscious is a machine of habits. Its function is to execute the inherited script, Chapter 2. To change your life, you must give it a new script that is more convincing than the old one. The act of disciplined imagination is the act of writing a new manuscript and presenting it to your internal builder. You are creating a memory of the future, and once this new memory, your imagined scene, has been recorded with the ink of feeling, the job of your subconscious shifts. It now has a conflict between the inherited script, I am sick, and the new manuscript, I am healthy. And because your active imagination was deliberate, conscious, and charged with power, it becomes the new dominant command. The automatic scribe, your autopilot, stops obeying the old script and begins to execute the new one. It starts orchestrating synchronicities, changing your perception, guiding your actions, also that the physical world aligns with the new manuscript you have written. Imagination is the act of the divine architect. Every great human creation first existed, complete and perfect, in the imagination of its creator. A cathedral is nothing more than a sustained belief in stone. A symphony is nothing more than an imagined emotion, translated into sound. Your healing is nothing more than an image of perfection, sustained with feeling, until your body obeys it. Your job is not to get health, it is to design it. Imagination is the pen with which you draw the blueprint. Feeling is the ink with which you make it indelible. Your conscious, awake, and logical mind, in the beta state, is the guardian of the old script. Its job is not to create. Its job is to analyze the manuscript that already exists, your current reality, and protect it. When you try to perform an act of creative imagination from this state of wakefulness and mental noise, instant sabotage occurs. Imagine you sit down and try to visualize your new script of abundance. You, the conscious pen, write, I am healthy. The guardian, logic, crosses it out, lie. Feel the pain in your knee. Remember the diagnosis. This is the real script. You, the conscious pen, write, I am prosperous. The guardian, the veil of the senses, crosses it out. False. Look at your bank account. This is the evidence. Reality is scarcity. In this state, you are not writing a new manuscript. You are in a state of civil war. You are trying to write a word, while the guardian of the old programming is erasing it in real time. You are weaving with the emergency brake on. That is why thinking positive during the day feels like an exhausting struggle. It is. It is your conscious 5%, trying to overpower the automatic 95% by brute force. You are destined to lose. The awakened scribe does not fight the guardian. That is a waste of ink and energy. It is the act of a novice. An experienced scribe simply waits for the moment when the guardian falls asleep. The moment the guardian falls asleep is the moment your brain changes its frequency. It leaves the beta waves, alert, logic, stress, and descends to alpha waves, relaxation, and more deeply to theta. The theta state is the silent scriptorium. It is the portal. It is the state you naturally experience twice a day, in the moment just before sleep, the drowsy or hypnagogic state, and the moment just after waking up. It is the state of daydreaming, where you are no longer fully awake but not yet asleep. Why is this the most powerful moment of creation? Why is this scriptorium sacred? Because in the theta state, two miracles happen simultaneously. The guardian falls asleep. Your logical, analytical mind disconnects. The critic is silenced. The resistance vanishes. The inherited script stops defending itself. The scroll is moistened. Your subconscious mind, the automatic scribe, becomes hyper-receptive. It is like a dry scroll that gets moistened, becoming soft, open, ready to accept any stroke of ink without the slightest resistance. When you inscribe your new manuscript in this state of silence, the act of creation ceases to be a struggle. There is no guardian to deny it. There is no inherited script to corrupt it. There is no frequency of counterfeiting. In the silence of the theta state, your blueprint, the imagination, charged with your ink, the feeling, is not presented as a wish. It is presented as a command. It is recorded in the subconscious, not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. The automatic scribe accepts it as the new default script, and when you wake up, that vast 95% machinery will begin silently and inexorably to execute that new program, orchestrating synchronicities, guiding your actions, and inspiring your thoughts. The failure of most visualizations is not due to a lack of imagination, but to a lack of silence. It is a problem of when and where, not what. Imagine you are a divine sculptor. Your job is to sculpt the statue of your perfect life. Your workshop, your mind, is located next to a noisy highway, the beta state of wakefulness. For years you have tried to sculpt, but with the deafening noise of traffic, fear, news, others' opinions, and the constant vibration of the floor, stress, your hands tremble. The chisel slips. The work is a disaster. The silent Scriptorium is a secret workshop to which only you hold the key. It is an underground soundproof chamber, perfectly still. The awakened scribe knows not to sculpt in the noise. They bring their block of marble, their intention, to this chamber. They close the door, and in the absolute silence, every strike of their chisel, every act of imagination is perfect, precise, and divine. They create the masterpiece in stillness. Then, they simply transport it to the external world for all to see. You do not fight the world's noise. You simply choose to create somewhere else. Chapter 7. The Law of the Signature, Trust as the Seal. In ancient times, when a king or an author finished a decree or a manuscript, the final word was not enough. They had to apply their signature or their wax seal. This seal was the signature of authority that said, "This is finished. It is the law. It cannot be altered. Execute it." Your creation in the silent Scriptorium follows this same law. Trust or faith is not the hope that your script will manifest. Hope is a weak, trembling signature. It is the vibration of doubt. Trust is your signature. It is your seal of authority. It is the act of stamping your "I am" onto the creation and declaring, "It is done." It is the state of consciousness that removes your work from draft mode and sends it to print mode. To understand the power of trust, you must first understand its opposite, doubt. Doubt is not just a negative thought. It is the alchemical reagent that dissolves the ink. It is the act of breaking the seal. Imagine this process. At night, in your silent Scriptorium theta state, you write your new manuscript. I am health. You imprint it with the ink of feeling. The work is perfect. You place your signature of trust and fall asleep. The manuscript has been sent to the great builder, your subconscious. But in the morning, you wake up. You open your eyes to the world of the veil of the senses, and the veil shows you the old manuscript. Your body still feels pain, and you, the scribe, panic. "It didn't work," you shout. "The manuscript was a lie. The pain is still here." In that instant, you have committed a metaphysical sabotage. You have sent a second message to the builder, a message of panic that says, "Stop the press, withdraw the manuscript, the order is false." Doubt is your counter-command. The subconscious, which is a literal servant and cannot handle two contradictory commands, obeys the strongest and most habitual order. And your habit of believing the veil of the senses is, for now, much stronger than your new practice of faith. The builder stops printing the new script and puts the old script of pain back on the press. And your reality of illness is perpetuated, not because the law failed, but because you yourself cancelled your miracle. The greatest challenge is not writing the new script. The challenge is remaining loyal to that invisible new script when the visible old script is still shouting in your face. You must understand this truth. The world you see with your physical senses is the past. It is an echo, it is the story that was already printed yesterday. Your active imagination in the silent Scriptorium is the creative present. It is the story being printed now. The law of the signature is the discipline of stopping believing the echo and starting believing the voice. It is the most radical act of faith. It is an absolute loyalty to the invisible reality of your creation, above the tyranny of the visible illusion of your senses. To sustain trust, we must first understand what it is not. The trust we speak of is not hope. Hope is the language of the untrained mind. It is the vibration of doubt disguised as optimism. I hope this works. I hope I heal. Hope, at its root, admits the possibility of failure. It is a cracked seal. It is a signature written with trembling ink. The subconscious, feeling the wavering vibration of hope, receives a confused order. It does not commit. Trust, as a metaphysical law, is of a completely different nature. It is not an emotion. It is a state of being. It is not passive hope. It is active discipline. Trust is certainty. It is the unwavering calm of a consciousness that has made a decision. It is the serene knowing that the invisible reality, you have consecrated in your silent scriptorium is more real than the chaotic illusion your senses present to you. Your one true battle as the scribe is the battle for your loyalty. Your physical senses, the echo of the past, present you with the evidence of illness. Your awakened consciousness, the creative present, presents you with the truth of the health you have written. Which one will you give your belief to? Which one will you place your faith in? Trust is the act of being more loyal to your inner vision than to your outer sight. The world you see with your eyes is not the truth, it is history. It is the reflection of the programs you were running yesterday. Your work with the word trust is to stop reacting to the echo and remain loyal to the new song you have started singing. When the symptom of pain appears, when the thought of fear arises, the untrained mind panics, breaks the seal, and contaminates the scroll again. The awakening consciousness, on the other hand, practices divine indifference. It observes the symptom, the echo, and instead of identifying with it, pronounces its reactive trust, not as a plea, but as a command. I see you, shadow of the past, but my loyalty is with the manuscript I have written in the silence. My truth is the health I have decreed. I trust the process. Trust is the word that anchors you to the invisible reality. The word trust induces the most powerful state of being for manifestation, the state of rest or the Sabbath. After you have written your new script in the silent scriptorium, your job as the active creator is finished. You have prepared the scroll. Now, you must put down the pen. You must enter a state of rest, trusting that the divine intelligence of your subconscious, the builder, has received the instruction and is doing its work in the darkness. Impatience and worry are the act of digging up the seed to see if it is growing. They are the act of a creator who does not trust the law. The trust is the art of letting go of the how and the when. You release the need to logically understand the process. You release the need to control the manifestation timeline. It is the deepest act of faith. It is saying to the universe, I have prepared the scroll, I have written the script, I have placed my seal, my work is done. Now the work is yours, I trust. Imagine your awakened consciousness is a king. You have spent the morning in your scriptorium, drafting a new law for your kingdom, the law of perfect health. You have used the ink of feeling. The decree is impeccable. You call your Grand Vizier, your subconscious mind. You hand him the scroll, and crucially, you seal it with your royal signature, trust. The Vizier bows and departs to the deep archives of the palace to implement the new law. Now what does the king do? Does he run after the Vizier, shouting, Are you sure you'll do it? Let me see the scroll again. Why are the people in the square still acting according to the old law? No. To do so would be an act of madness. It would invalidate his own authority. It would show that he does not trust his own power or his vizier. A true king, a true scribe, does the only thing he must do. He rests in his authority. He enters his Sabbath. He trusts absolutely that his word is law, and that the vizier, the subconscious, is perfectly loyal and competent. His only job now is to begin acting and thinking as if the new law is already in effect. The trust is the word that allows you to put down the pen and rest in your own authority. Chapter 8. The Blank Papyrus, the Ritual of Receptivity. The first mistake most people make is that they try to rewrite their script in the midst of chaos. They try to think positive while their nervous system is on fire. It is a futile effort. Why? Because your conscious, awake mind, in the beta state, is the guardian of the old script. It is the logical, critical, analytical mind. Its job is to compare any new information with the existing file, your inherited script. You consciousness, I choose perfect health. The guardian, logical mind. False. The file from the veil of the senses, Kate 3, reports knee pain. The inherited script, Kate 2, says disease is inevitable. Request rejected. Fighting this guardian is exhausting and only creates more conflict. You cannot rewrite the script while the guardian is on watch. The secret is not to fight the guardian. It is to seduce him to sleep. As we explored in the philosophy of Chapter 6, the most powerful state for creation is the drowsy state, or theta state. This is the magical portal you experience twice a day, naturally, the moment you are falling asleep, and the moment just before waking up. In this state, the logical guardian shuts off, but your consciousness, the scribe, remains awake. The veil of the senses becomes blurred, and your subconscious mind, the scroll, becomes perfectly receptive. This ritual of receptivity is the protocol for deliberately entering that state. It is the art of creating the blank papyrus at will. You don't need to wait for night. You will learn to create this state in 10 minutes. The practical ritual, preparing the papyrus. This ritual has 3 phases: space consecration, body descent, and mind stillness. Phase 1. Space consecration, the physical workshop. The automatic scribe cannot calm down if the body feels unsafe. Your first step is to create a physical environment that sends your nervous system the signal of total safety. Choose your place. Find a location where you know with absolute certainty that you will not be interrupted for 15 minutes. A comfortable chair, your bed, a corner of your house. Silence the veil. This is a ritual of inner darkness. The veil of the senses must be silenced. Turn off your phone. Dim the lights or use an eye mask. Silence and darkness are the fastest signals for the guardian to drop its guard. The posture. Sit comfortably with a straight back or lie down. Comfort is key. There should be no physical tension that distracts the guardian. Phase 2. The body descent, releasing the physical anchor. Now you begin the descent. The guardian is tethered to the body. For him to sleep, the body must sleep first. You will use your consciousness as a gentle pen to systematically relax the temple. Focus and release. Close your eyes. Bring all your attention to your feet. Do not try to relax them. Simply feel them. Feel the energy in them. And then give them the silent command: release. Imagine the energy of tension draining from your feet and going into the earth. Ascend the temple. Move that pen of your consciousness upwards, to your calves. Feel them and release, to your knees. Release, to your thighs. Feel the weight of your legs becoming heavy, incredibly heavy, as if melting into the chair or bed. The core. Move your attention to your stomach, your chest, your lower back. This is the armor of your stress. Do not fight it. Simply, with every exhale, allow it to soften. Release. The scribe's hands. Bring your attention to your hands. Feel the tingling energy in your palms. Release. Feel your shoulders, heavy, falling away from your ears. Release. The final seal. Finally, relax your jaw, your cheeks, the small muscles around your eyes and your forehead. This is the guardian's control center. By relaxing your forehead, you give the final signal that all is calm. Your body is now deeply relaxed. You are sending an irrefutable signal to your brain. There are no tigers. There are no threats. It is safe to sleep. Phase 3. Mind stillness, the breath anchor. The most common mistake people make at this point is trying to fight their thoughts. They try to force silence. This is an act of violence. It is the guardian trying to arrest the guardian. The result is more chaos, more noise. Your mind cannot be silenced by force. It must be seduced into silence. You must give it a task so simple, so rhythmic, and so present that the automatic scribe, in its boredom, simply puts down the pen. That task is the simple focus. With your body already deeply relaxed, bring 100% of your attention to your breath. Do not change it. Do not control it. Control is an act of the ego. Simply observe it. Feel the slightly cool air entering your nose. Feel the pause. Feel the slightly warm air, the moment of truth, the distraction. In less than 10 seconds, a thought, an echo, a scribble will appear. I have to pay that bill. My nose itches. I'm not. The practice of return, the act of power. This is the moment of the ritual. The instant you realize you have drifted, the moment you catch yourself writing the old script, there is no judgment, no frustration, no sigh of failure. Simply, with serene, impersonal kindness, you withdraw your attention from that thought, the echo of the past, and return it, gently, to your breath. The cycle of mastery. You will drift away 1,000 times, and 1,000 times, with infinite patience, you will return to the breath. This act of returning is the true ritual. Every time you do it, you are executing a deep command. You are rewiring your brain. You are building the muscle of awakened consciousness. You are teaching the automatic scribe who the new... Phase 4. Recognizing the portal, the blank papyrus. As you continue this gentle cycle of observe, drift, return, something miraculous begins to happen. The space between your thoughts grows longer, the noise becomes background, the storm turns into a drizzle, and then you feel it. It is an unmistakable shift. Your body feels incredibly heavy, as if sinking into the bed or chair, or paradoxically, so light that you may feel a slight vibration or hum in your hands or forehead. Your thoughts, if they appear, become strange, dreamlike, illogical. They lose their emotional charge. This is the silent scriptorium. It is the alpha theta state. It is the blank papyrus. The logical guardian. The automatic scribe has put down the pen. The veil of the senses has faded. Your consciousness is now alone in the workshop, facing the virgin, receptive scroll of your subconscious mind. There is no resistance, no doubt, no past. You are at the 0 point. This state in itself is deeply healing. It is the state of regeneration par excellence. It is the Sabbath, chapter 7 in practice. Simply resting in this blank papyrus, without any intention, allows the divine intelligence of your body to begin its repair work. But we will not stop there. You have prepared the scroll, not just to admire its blank. This state of absolute receptivity is the moment when your subconscious is most vulnerable, most open, most literal. Anything you inscribe on this scroll now will not be argued. It will be accepted as an absolute truth. It will be accepted as the new. Imagine that the automatic scribe you're programming has left the workshop for the night. The guardian, your logical mind, sleeps at the door, and you, the awakened consciousness, enter the silent room. The great scroll of your life is spread out on the table. In the moonlight you see all the chaotic scribbles of the day. With your breath you gently blow on the page, and the scribbles, your anxious thoughts, fade. With your relaxation, you smooth the scroll until it is perfectly flat. And with your silence, the invisible ink of the old scripts dries up and disappears. Before you lies a blank page, pristine, moistened by the magic of the ether, waiting for the first word. You have completed the ritual of receptivity. Chapter 9. The protocol of the pen, the ritual of inscription. Your subconscious, the automatic scribe, is a machine of habits. Its job is to run programs based on your memories. The problem is that, until now, all your memories are from the past. And so, your automatic scribe only knows how to rewrite the script of the past. To change your reality, you must give it a new memory from which to operate. A memory of an event that, on the physical plane, has not yet happened. You must create a memory of the future. This is where your imagination, the pen, becomes the divine tool. As we learned, your nervous system does not distinguish a real experience from a vividly and sensorially imagined one. When, in the silent scriptorium, you live a scene with feeling, you are not imagining. You are creating a neurological fact. You are installing the new program. The subconscious does not learn with a single command. The guardian, your logical mind, can learn something by reading it once, but the automatic scribe, your deep mind, learns through rhythm, repetition, and feeling. The failure of many people is that they try to hammer their desire into the subconscious. They use willpower. "I will be rich," they shout in their mind. This is an act of vibrational violence. It wakes up the guardian. It hardens the scroll. The subconscious rejects it. Inscription is not a hammer, it is a lullaby, it is a cooing. It is a soft rhythmic loop filled with feeling that, repeated in the state of receptivity, seduces the subconscious into accepting the new idea, not as a command, but as a comfortable truth. It is the mother singing to her child that everything is well, until the child accepts it and falls asleep in that truth. Your job in this ritual is not to force a change. It is to lull your deep mind with the new song until it falls asleep in it. The most crucial moment of inscription is sleep. The goal of the subconscious lullaby is to hold the feeling of your wish fulfilled until consciousness dissolves into sleep. Why? Because sleep is the moment when the conscious scribe, you, puts down the pen, and the automatic scribe, the subconscious, takes it up. Your last conscious thought and feeling before sleep is the work order you leave the builder for the entire night. If you fall asleep feeling anxiety about tomorrow, the automatic scribe will work all night to orchestrate a reality that matches that anxiety. But if you manage to fall asleep feeling the relief of your wish fulfilled, the automatic scribe takes that frequency as its new master pattern. And for 8 hours on the quantum plane, the great work begins. It rewires your biology, moves the threads of synchronicity, and begins to rewrite the manuscript of your physical world so that upon waking, reality must, by law, begin to conform to your new script. The thread of practice, the ritual of inscription. You have understood the law. The silent scriptorium is the workshop. Imagination is the pen, feeling is the ink, and sleep is the seal. Now, the practical protocol. Name of the ritual, the protocol of the pen, the subconscious lullaby. Purpose: to inscribe a new manuscript, memory of the future, onto the receptive scroll of the subconscious. The protocol. Step 1. The manuscript preparation, done before the ritual. You cannot design the script when you are in the state of trance. You must have it memorized. Define your scene. Choose your master pattern, Chapter 4. It must be a short scene, 3 to 5 seconds, in the first person, and imply that your desire is already a fact. Error. Visualizing a check arriving, that is the process. Correct. Visualizing yourself looking at your bank statement and feeling profound relief. Error. Visualizing yourself in the hospital healing, that is the process. Correct. Visualizing yourself doing something you couldn't do, like laughing without pain or running through a park. Define your ink. Define the essential tension, Chapter 5. What is the central feeling of that scene? Is it relief? Is it peace? Is it freedom? Is it joy? Name it. That is your ink. Step 2. The blank papyrus ritual, the start. Prepare for sleep. Perform this ritual when you are already in bed and ready to sleep. This is your last action of the day. Close your eyes. Systematically relax your body from your feet to your head. Calm your mind using your breath as an anchor. Reach the Scriptorium. Continue until you feel the shift, that sensation of drifting, of pleasant heaviness, of illogical thoughts. The guardian is asleep. The scroll is blank and receptive. Theta state. Step 3. The inscription, the act of the lullaby. Now with the scroll ready, you pick up the pen. Invoke the scene. With a gentle, not forced intention, bring your short scene to your mind. Dip the pen in the ink. Immediately ignite the feeling, your essential tension. Feel the relief. Feel the joy. Feel the peace that it is already a fact. This is the most important step. Feeling is the ink that etches the manuscript. The rhythmic loop. As soon as the sensation reaches its peak, it only lasts a few seconds. Let it go. Let the scene fade. Then start again. Invoke the scene. Feel the feeling. Release. Invoke the scene. Feel the feeling. Release. Over and over. You are executing the subconscious lullaby. It is a cooing. It is a gentle rhythm that is literally passing the shuttle of silence through the loom. Step 4. The signature, the seal of sleep. How long do you repeat this loop? The answer is the key to everything. You repeat it until sleep overtakes you. Your sole objective is to fall asleep in the midst of that feeling. The instant you fall asleep, feeling your wish fulfilled, you have done something miraculous. You have delivered to the giant, your subconscious builder, not a wish but a felt reality. And you have sealed that reality with the power of your last conscious thought. This feeling is the command that the giant will work to materialize throughout the night. Your conscious mind, the scribe, sleeps. But the scroll, the subconscious, never sleeps. It takes that pattern that has been imprinted with such authority, and during the next 8 hours of sleep begins the great work. It begins to weave. It reorganizes your biology. It rewires your neurons. It sends signals to the great loom of the universe, the quantum field, to orchestrate synchronicities, move people, and prepare events that must manifest on your physical tapestry to match the pattern you have just recorded. Many people fail in this ritual for one reason: effort. They try to stay awake to visualize harder. They fight sleep. This is a mistake. Struggle is the wrong tension. It is the guardian waking up. The goal of this ritual is not to fight sleep, but to use it. The goal is to seduce your mind into accepting a new truth as its last sensation before shutting down. It must be an act of grace, of drifting, of permission. Chapter 10. Living the Manuscript. The Art of Embodying the New Story. We have spent 9 chapters talking about how to write the story. But the truth is, writing it is the easy part. The real challenge is allowing yourself to live in it. You have spent decades living in the disordered manuscript of your inherited script. Your identity, your sense of self, has been forged in struggle, scarcity, and not being enough. You have learned to feel comfortable in the discomfort of your old pattern. Now, the universe presents you with your new creation, a script of peace, abundance, and health. And your old identity, the one accustomed to chaos, looks at this perfection and panics. It is the soul's imposter syndrome. This is too good to be true. I don't deserve this. Something bad is going to happen to compensate for this. I don't know how to be this abundant, peaceful person. I don't know the rules. This is the final sabotage. It is the author who, having written their masterpiece, hides it in a drawer and goes back to writing their old tragic story, because at least it is familiar. It is the prisoner who, having dug the tunnel to freedom, refuses to leave the cell. Creation is not completed when the universe gives you something. It is completed when you become something. The quantum loom, the scroll of the subconscious, does not respond to your rituals. It responds to your identity. As long as you remain the person who tries to be healthy, the scroll will give you a reality of trying and struggle. The moment you become the person who is healthy, the scroll collapses that reality around you. Living the manuscript is not pretending. Pretending is an act of the ego trying to deceive others. Embodiment is an act of faith that demonstrates the truth to your own subconscious. It is the act of aligning your identity, your thoughts, your words, and your daily actions with the truth of the manuscript you have already completed on the invisible plane. The moment you start living your new script, you will face the final test, the evidence of your senses. The Veil of the Senses, Chapter 3, will show you the echo of the old manuscript. Your eyes will still see the bill. Your body will still feel the symptom. The sleeping scribe looks at the echo, believes it, and cancels the new print job. They return to the prison of the past. The awakened scribe looks at the echo, recognizes it for what it is, a shadow, an old story, and remains loyal to the new manuscript written in the silence. Embodiment is the art of being more loyal to your inner vision than to your external reality. Why is embodiment so powerful? Why is acting as if the final command that seals creation? Because it is the act that finally closes the gap between your conscious 5% and your subconscious 95%. It is the moment when the scribe and the automatic scribe finally work in perfect harmony. One, it is the demonstration of faith to the inner builder. In the ritual of imprinting, Chant 9, you planted the seed, you wrote the script. With the mental diet, which we will see in practice, you protect the seed, but the builder, your subconscious, continues to observe you throughout the day. It silently asks you, Scribe, did you truly believe the story you wrote last night? If you spend the day acting, speaking, and feeling like the old person, scared, lacking, sick, your actions are screaming, it was a lie. Keep running the old script. But if, despite the evidence of your senses, you start walking like the prosperous person, speaking like the healthy person, deciding like the peaceful person, you are doing something miraculous. You are giving the builder physical evidence that your new identity is real. Your actions become the irrefutable proof. The subconscious, seeing that the scribe acts in congruence with the new blueprint, dissolves all resistance and mobilizes all its power to complete the work. Embodiment is the amen your body says to your soul's prayer. 2. It is permanent vibrational tuning. You cannot feel healthy for 10 minutes in your nightly ritual and sick for 16 hours a day and expect the universe to respond to the 10 minutes. The universe responds to your dominant vibration. The act of living the manuscript is the art of making your new vibration the dominant one. It is the art of taking the feeling you cultivated in the silent scriptorium and extending it throughout your day. Every time you choose an action based on abundance, instead of fear, you are emitting the note of abundance. Every time you choose a word of gratitude, instead of a complaint, you are emitting the note of gratitude. You are practicing being the tuned instrument, not just in the silence of the workshop, but in the chaos of the world. You are making your new frequency your home. 3. It is real-time neurological rewriting. Your brain is plastic. Every action you perform forges a neural pathway. When you act despite fear, you are rewiring your brain. You are demonstrating with facts that the old law of fear is no longer in charge. You are literally sculpting the brain that corresponds to your new reality. Living from the script is not just a metaphysical act, it is neurological training. The Scribe's workshop, the ritual of inhabiting the manuscript. You have understood the law. The manuscript is finished on the invisible plane. You have understood that your only remaining job is not to create, but to embody. You must stop being the architect looking at the blueprints and become the resident inhabiting the house. But how is this done in practice? How do you inhabit a manuscript that your 5 senses, the veil, still cannot see? You don't do it by pretending. Pretending is an act of effort, a frequency of counterfeiting. You do it through a ritual of conscious alignment. It is the art of taking your new identity and practicing it with subtle devotion until it becomes your only natural state. Name of the ritual of inhabiting the manuscript. Purpose: to align your identity, thoughts, words, and physical actions with the reality of your new script, closing the gap between the invisible and the visible. The protocol. Step 1. The declaration of identity, the new premise. Your day no longer begins with the protocol of the pen, chapter 9, as an act of creation. That work is already done. Your day begins now as an act of remembrance. Upon waking, your first conscious thought before the day's inherited script catches you is your declaration of identity. You close your eyes for a moment. You do not try to feel good. You simply assume the state of being of your fulfilled desire, the ink of feeling from chart 5. And you declare in silence, I am the consciousness that has written health. I am the embodiment of abundance. I am peace. You are not asking. You are not creating. You are informing your mind and the universe of the truth you now choose to embody. You have set the tone of your new reality for the day. Step 2. The embodied thought. Thinking from the manuscript. This is the most subtle work. You must change your mental perspective. The old mind, the captive reader, thinks about its desire. I really want to be abundant. It is on the outside of the manuscript looking in. The embodied mind, the awakened scribe, thinks from its desire. What wonderful thing will I do today with this abundance that I am? It is on the inside, looking out. Daily practice. Throughout the day, whenever you catch yourself wishing for your goal, stop and shift the perspective. Instead of, I hope my meeting goes well so I can get the contract, think, I enter this meeting from my identity of success. How would the successful person that I already am share my value? You are not trying to get something, you are expressing something. This subtle shift in perspective is the difference between lack and embodiment. Step 3. The embodied word, speaking from the manuscript. As we learned, your words are the ink that writes. Now that you have inscribed a new manuscript, you must stop writing the old one with your mouth. This is a strict verbal diet. Complaint prohibition. Complaint is the most powerful prayer for chaos. It is the scribe who, having written a script of perfection, crosses it out with ink of frustration. It is a contradiction that confuses the subconscious builder. Speak of your reality, not about it. Old mind. I'm so stressed about money, writing the old script. Embodied mind, if someone asks. I am in a process of realigning my finances. Everything is falling into place. It is not a lie, it is a higher truth. You are describing the action that is happening on the invisible plane, not the echo of the old manuscript that your eyes see. Step 4. The embodied action, acting from the manuscript. This is the final physical seal. Your actions must align with your new identity. The subconscious believes your actions more than your thoughts. The captive reader, scarcity mindset, saves out of fear, clings, doesn't tip, makes the cheapest decision out of panic. The awakened scribe, abundance mindset, circulates energy. They pay their bills not with fear but with gratitude for having the money to do so. They tip fairly, knowing the flow is infinite. They make decisions based on value, not fear. Daily practice. Find one small action each day that demonstrates your new identity. If your manuscript is health, go for a 5-minute walk, not 2 heal. Do it because you are a healthy person, and healthy people honor their body. If your manuscript is abundance, buy that better quality coffee, not as a splurge, but as a statement that you deserve quality. If your manuscript is peace, consciously choose not to participate in an argument. Each of these small actions is a vote. It is a new line of golden ink that tells the subconscious, yes, this is serious. The new script is now our only reality. And now the final act of mastery. You have designed the script, you have inscribed it, you have placed the signature of trust, and you have aligned your life to inhabit it. What do you do now? You put down the pen. You stop trying to manifest. You stop working on it. The scribe who has finished their masterpiece does not stare at it anxiously, wondering if it is real. They send it to the printing press, the universe, and go design their next work. We have reached the end of the manuscript. Our journey began in the darkness of a prison, as a captive reader, hypnotized by a script of suffering that we believed to be real. Together we have deciphered the forbidden metaphysics. In part 1, we diagnosed the prison. We saw the great illusion, recognizing that reality is a malleable scroll, not a solid structure. We uncovered the invisible ink of our inherited script, the programming that was writing our story without permission. We dismantled the veil of the senses that kept us hypnotized by the echo of the past, and we reclaimed the key to our authority, the creative word I am. In part 2, we learned the secret grammar. We understood that feeling is the syntax of the soul, the only ink the scroll obeys. We discovered the silent Scriptorium, the workshop of imagination where new scripts are written, and we learned the law of the signature, the seal of trust that protects the work. Finally, in part 3, we entered the workshop. We learned the ritual of preparing the blank papyrus, the protocol of the pen to inscribe our new destiny, and the art of living the manuscript, embodying the new story. You have completed the manual. The pen has been returned to your hand. The illusion of the captive reader has dissolved. You can no longer return to amnesia. You know that every moment of your life is an act of writing. The metaphysics has been unveiled. Creation is no longer a miracle you wait for. It is a craft you practice. Your life ceases to be a story that happens to you and becomes the masterpiece you write. The inherited script has lost its power. Your question every morning is no longer, what does destiny have in store for me? But, what magnificent chapter do I choose to write today? If this manual has deciphered your reality and returned the pen to you, we invite you to continue this work. Subscribe to our channel, Path of Knowledge, for more wisdom that reminds you of your creative power. Like this video as a declaration that you accept your role as the scribe. Share this forbidden knowledge with someone who is ready to rewrite their own story. Thank you for your time, for your courage to read between the lines, and for the brave decision to become the author of your life.